See, almost.
Well,
Oh,
hello,
Ed.
and welcome to the Pop Live Show. Um, you're wondering why I'm laughing, because I thought we were live and I was already starting to talk, and then I just held on to my hello, and then Nato's barking, and there's a chicken crowing. That sums up pretty much kind of what this past week has been. It seems like a lot of crazy things going on, not only here in our studio, but also in our nation and in our world. And so we thought it would be appropriate that we talk about this topic today, which is how to appropriately handle controversial topics. You know, when there's national issues or controversies and incidents that happen, um, public statements and reactions can really make or break a nonprofit organization. And so, what we wanted to do is help you recognize when it's appropriate to react to and how to respond, and what some of the dangers and benefits of reactions and responses can be for your organization. You need to know how to set your organization in the right light and clearly communicate your position. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. If you don't know and are new to this, my name's Nolan, and this is my co-host and partner, Jamie. Jamie does not like to be on camera, but too bad, because she is just as important, if not more important, to the show, because she's the expert and the one with all the brains. She just doesn't know how to articulate them sometimes. So what happens is I say stuff, and then she'll jump on and correct me and tell you how it really is. But she won't come out and say how it really is until she hears me say it wrong. So that's how it works. But Pop Live is a weekly show where we talk about different topics that are helpful to nonprofits, things that we have learned through our experience in our work as a business. Things like video production, virtual events, social media, those kind of things that through our work with nonprofits here in Hawaii, we've been able to see what are some pressure points or pain points for organizations, and kind of the things that we generally find that we talk to them about that help them. So, welcome to the show, and let's get started. So, wanted to welcome you in the chat rooms as well. So whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we are constantly checking in on the comment section. So if at any point you have any thoughts, questions, or concerns, throw them into the comment section, and we'll do our best to answer or address the things that come up. Jamie loves the chat section and the comment section. So if you have anything to say, you're just filling her passion bucket. So, Jamie, any thoughts before we get started?
no.
Okay, that's the quickest response I've ever heard from Jamie. All right, so before I get started, I just wanted to say that I know this can be a touchy subject. We're talking about controversial issues and how to handle them, and how to respond, and when it's appropriate. So just know that we understand that this is a touchy subject. So I'm going to do my best to be clear and concise, just as I'm explaining how you can be yourself. But if there's anything that that strikes you the wrong way or whatever, just please feel free to let us know. I'm not trying to impart any kind of political stance or my opinions on controversial topics. That's not the point of this. The point is how to appropriately respond and communicate when it comes to social media and marketing and such. All right? So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's start off with point number one. We still haven't done our cool little graphic that I want to do, and we may never do it. But for now, you just get my finger there. Point number one. Okay, first thing. So, in light of, it seems like, especially this past year, there have been a lot more controversial things that have come up in our nation, that has spread and affected all of our communities in one way or another, whether it's the killing of George Floyd, or just as recent as last week with the attack on the Capitol. Um, when things like that happen, and it's something that you, as an organization, no matter what your stance is, you want to make sure that whatever you have scheduled out in your communications, like a lot of you are doing a really great job with scheduling posts or scheduling newsletters to go out on automation. You want to make sure that you cancel it and pause those posts that are not relevant to the issue at hand. So, for instance, last week with the attack on the Capitol, there's a lot of controversial things going on, some deaths, and it is a high tense moment, and it would be really unfortunate if one of your posts that came out like, yay, celebrating our new office chairs in the break room, post goes out and it's something that you didn't write at the time, but you wrote it a week prior, but it was just scheduled to go out. That would come across as really insensitive and tone deaf, and heaven forbid if you say something that maybe might even be misinterpreted as related to the incidents, and that wasn't your intention. That could really hurt you and your organization. So when things like this come up, it's really good to make sure that your practice is to check all of your automated posts, and make sure that there's nothing out there that's going to be going out anytime soon that is not related or relevant or important to what's going on in the community or in our nation or in the world. Okay? Anything that you want to add to that, Jamie?
I don't think it necessarily has to be related to it, but oh, that's my mic. Sorry. Is your mic on? Chatak?
Check, check, 1, 2.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. I got all confused. I don't think it has to be related to what's going on necessarily, but just be thoughtful about it and just look at it, like pause what you have scheduled and review it and make sure that it's not in bad taste and it's not I don't know, like what you were saying, but it just doesn't have to be directly related.
Right.
But just make sure that it's something you feel okay about sending out that day.
Yeah, because the last thing you would want to do is, especially your audience and your followers, and if this is something that they're sensitive to, whatever is going on, and if they were to see you post something that is insensitive to the situation, they can take that personally in the sense of like, wow,
They had the nerve to post this thing right now during this time. Like,
we don't need to hear about what you just said in this post or this newsletter. We need to know that you actually take this seriously, or that it is something that is I guess important to you.
Where is your mic?
Right
Sorry.
here.
Can you take
Check.
that off and just plug into the thing, because it's not reading on the levels. That's why I got confused. Sorry, everybody.
This is the beauty of life.
we're
Helen just got home and we jumped on this thing super fast, so we're unprepared. To check your mic again. Oh, you're still unplugging it?
Hello, checking,
Yeah, that's
checking.
better.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, this is
And then also, I had one more thing.
yeah.
Just also remember, if you're sending your like, say you had a scheduled newsletter to go out on Wednesday when everything was happening, people might not even read it because they're just watching the news. So if you can just wait a day, you might get more people looking at it.
Yeah. So there's that aspect to it as well, where you want to be appropriate, but also you also might be losing a lot of your audience because they don't have the attention or desire to be reading about whatever you have to say. If it's all I was doing on, was it Wednesday last
Yeah.
week, was stuck to Twitter and
Yeah.
news and live updates. And so, you know, the last thing I was thinking of was, you know, anything not, anything but information related to what was going on. So, yeah. I'm trying my best to keep these shorter because when we first came up with this show idea, we thought max 30 minutes. And every week I've gone well over 40. So that was point number 1. Now let's go to point number 2. Okay, so point number 2 is decide if you're going to take a position or not. You don't have to take a position. Sometimes it's appropriate that you don't take a position and you just lay low and be quiet. There's many of you nonprofit organizations, though, that have a position in the community where people look to you as a leader in the community, whether it's the work you do, the people in your organizations, and all sorts of things like that. So I think that many times, if you're a nonprofit, you should really be thoughtful and consider if you want to take a position, and if your audience base thinks that and expects for you to take a position. Just consider where you are in the community and where you are in relation to whatever the situation is, because you know not all controversial incidents or national issues are going to be political. You know, some may be other kinds of things too. So if you decide, you know, I think immediately whenever something like this comes up, you have to decide as an organization, will we take a position or not? And if the answer is yes, then the next step is you as the organization have to agree on what that position is, because whatever you put out there, whatever statement or stance you take is going to represent the organization as a whole. That includes all your board members, all your supporters and whatnot. So be really mindful about what your stance, that your stance represents the organization and its community, and that everyone is on board with it. Because the last thing you want is for, you know, the communication to come out of a particular stance, and then other people within the organization come out and go, well, that's not exactly how I feel. And it comes across as like not a unified front, and brings about a lack of confidence from the public then that you guys really know what you're doing, or have a tight ship being run there. Before I go on to the next thing, Jamie, do you have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay. The other thing is, if you choose not to take a position, that's fine too. Like for us as a business, we chose, like there's a lot of times where we don't take a position publicly as a company because it's kind of not, it's either not appropriate for us to take one, or it doesn't really matter. Like it actually, people don't look to us as a video production company and as leaders in, you know, certain community issues or civic, that's not civil issues. I don't know if that's a correct term, but for us to come out and make a statement as a company for some of these things, it doesn't do much to help the situation. People don't look, if anything, it might hurt, because they're like, who are you to you know, speak on this? Like, you guys are a video production company. You're not, you know, community leaders or involved with this. So what we chose to do with times where we chose not to make a statement as a company is just lay low. Like, we weren't posting things. And just waited for the appropriate time for the things to settle, and for whatever needed to happen, where our audience and the public were okay with hearing from us again. You know, we could throw out our newsletter or throw up a social media post unrelated to the issues, and they were okay with that. So that's what I would say to point number 2, as far as deciding if you're going to take a position or not, and if you do, why you should or shouldn't. Jamie,
Flip
any
the paper over.
the other thing to think about is, and we put in the description some links to articles that might be relevant to this. There are different rules for 501c3s and 501c4s. So you want to make sure that whatever you do, that you don't break any rules that could hurt your tax status. Jamie, you have a little more to explain on this, because that would be really horrible if.
No, we're not experts in this at all. So we have one link in there, but you should definitely be careful about that and make sure that you're not violating the rules that apply to your organization.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you want to consider that your organization might be considered or criticized for what we call performance activism, when performative activism. Because if you express your position in a way that could be viewed as superficial, and you don't follow up with anything else, then the public kind of can criticize you for that. So, for example, when the George Floyd incident happened, and people were rallying on social media with posts of support, or trying to bring more awareness to police justice and reform and such, people were starting to post up those blackout things to show, support for this position. And there were organizations that, did the blackout thing for their profile pic because everyone was doing it. But then that's the only thing they did. So no follow-up, no explanation to what their stance or their position was, or even, just showing moving forward, any kind of, communication about the issue. Then it just came across as looking like, oh, you're just trying to follow along with what everyone else is doing without having any heart behind it or any intention behind it, and that can be viewed in a negative way and damage the view of your organization to the public. So you want to just be careful that you don't do stuff just for the sake of following along and looking cool with the rest of the cats out there, as as they say. But you also want to make sure that you follow up with things and show a strong position, right? Any other thoughts, Jamie? Follow-ups?
I think just if you decide to take a position, make sure you feel it's something that you feel strongly about, and it's something that you're gonna incorporate into the way you run your organization and what you do going forward, so that people don't call you out. And just to be genuine in what you do, like not taking a stand just because it's trendy.
Yeah. She makes it sound so much better that way.
So this is why
I keep her around. Okay, and finally, point number three is that we're talking about, the company or organization being represented in these, but we haven't talked about your personal opinion and personal communication, and it does matter. So you, especially if you're a leader of an organization, so the argument could be like, well, okay, the organization's social medias or newsletters, they have their stance and their statements, but what I say on my own personal Facebook or Twitter feed, that's my own, so it shouldn't affect the organization. And the fact is, it definitely does affect it, because if you're a leader, especially, you are the face of your organization. And so what you say and communicate reflects upon the organization as a whole. So you want to be intentional with that as well. A lot of people make the mistake of hiding behind the argument that this is my own personal opinion. But nowadays, especially with so much access in social media, it's hard for people to decipher the difference between you and your organization, because a lot of times you are one and the same. So, for instance, if Bill Gates were to say, I think that all puppies should be shaved, and and Microsoft is like, oh no, we don't agree with that. Like, we think puppies should have their hair grow the way they want it to. There's a very people are like, wait, but Bill Gates just said that they should shave them all. Like, I don't see, there's not much clarity here in where Microsoft stands on this and stuff. So you want to make sure that when you are communicating, especially from your personal platform, that it's either consistent with your company's brand or voice, or that that it can muddy the waters of what is being communicated from your organization. So just be mindful of that and careful of that, right, Jamie?
And I think people might say, like, I'm posting this on my personal page and it's only my friends can see it. But if you're friends with anybody that you work with, or anybody that works with your organization, it's not just like a closed group of people seeing it, especially in Hawaii, because everybody knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So just being aware that positions that you take on your personal page can reflect.
And I'll say this just from personal experience, not naming any names or anything, but I've seen it where a local small business that I had worked with before and such, and I had high opinions of them professionally and personally, and then I would later see personal opinions and posts that were very controversial on the owner's social media personal pages. And although I knew, okay, that's their personal page, it's not on their business page, it pretty much colored the way I looked at the business, where I didn't feel as comfortable trusting in the business and doing business with the organization, because of how I knew how the owners and the people who represented and ran the business felt, and their approach to things which weren't in line with my values and didn't instill trust in me to work with them. And so that's just kind of a plain example of how that could hurt your organization. Even though it was on their personal page and whatnot, it really colored the way I looked at the business after that.
Yeah.
So just so you know, this awkward pause was intentional, because I hate awkward pauses, and then I know that Jamie doesn't like to talk, but at the same time, there's been many times when I kind of ran over things and she's like, hey, you didn't let me say anything. And so then I try to be intentional and go, hey, Jamie, do you have anything to add and stuff?
I never said that on here.
No, not on here, in life.
In regular
life. Yeah. But
that's a marriage thing.
But there has been a time where, and this made me feel so awful, was we had not a client, but someone in the work world who was getting to know us and stuff. And I was talking, and we were in a Zoom call, and then Jamie wasn't saying anything. She's just kind of smiling, like how she's doing. Well, she's not smiling now, but she's there. And the person goes, well, this is really nice, and I appreciate you, Nolan, telling us all this stuff, but I would like to hear from Jamie, because she is, I'm a woman and she's a woman. I'd love to hear a female's perspective, and you haven't given Jamie a chance to talk. And it made me feel like, hey, I feel like you're saying like I'm preventing her from talking. No, it's because she won't talk. She told me that I'm talks, And so now every time these kind of things happen and there's possibly people that we don't know and don't know the dynamic are watching this, and I'm just so paranoid that other people are going to criticize me like, that guy Nolan, he just talks and talks and doesn't let Jamie say anything. So I intentionally just left it there to give an opening for Jamie to talk, and she didn't take it, and that's fine. But I just want you all to know that that's what the purpose of it was. So that I see, look, and she ran away. She's not even going to defend me and support me here. Take a stand, Jamie. What's your position on this? All right. If you have any, getting back to the center, I think we might actually fit within 30 minutes. This is this could be the day that we fit within the time frame. If you have any questions or comments or things that you want to add to, or even that you don't agree with on what we talked about today, throw them in the chat in the comment section. And even if you're watching this on delay, we are constantly monitoring the posts because all of the comments that come in, we still follow them and react to them. So feel free to throw in any thoughts or questions in the comment section, and we will do our best to help out and continue on the conversation, even though this live will have been done and over with for a while. So if you want to if you want us to cover any other topics too, please let us know. Throw it in the comments, or you can email us. You can email me or us at info@popcm.me. And if you haven't joined on to our newsletter mailing list, we highly encourage you to do so. You can do that by going to popcm.me/email. And we're going to share in these bi-weekly emails fun stuff, tips, things that we've learned, keep you connected with us. And you'll also, when you sign up, receive a welcome email that will give you a link to all of our archival newsletters as well, so you can see all the tips and stuff we shared in the past. So it's a really cool thing. We've gotten a lot of great comments and feedback on our newsletter, and we'd love to just share it with you if you're not getting it already. So I think, oh yeah, and there it is right below. This is where the link to where the address is to the website where you can sign up for our newsletter.
It's shrinking in your seat. That's why it's going through your chin.
All right. Well, Jamie, anything you'd like to add or say before we head off?
No.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for joining us on another Pop Live show. Again, remember, we do this every week, Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. You can check us out and learn more about us on our website, popcm.me. And we'll see you next week. I don't know yet what our subject will be next week, but we've got a lot of great ideas. So just know that it'll be good. It should be good. I hope it's good. It'll be good. All right. Goodbye.